43 years ago, Guster wrote, "It is no longer a secret that the Begin government and the Israeli military leadership have long tried to manipulate the country's political life in such a way that their dream of a victorious Israel, Eretz Yisrael, encompassing all occupied territories except Lebanon, can be realized de facto, despite violating their own international agreements and commitments. Israel, Is the Momentum Enough? By Abdurrahman Wahid, Tempo, March 12, 1983. The Kahan Commission, established by the Israeli government to investigate the massacre of Palestinian refugees in West Beirut, has completed its work. A new milestone in the life of the Israeli nation has been established. The rule of law must be placed above political power. A stance of upholding justice with all its consequences has been put forward, in a way that does not lead to political anarchy, or in other words, without destroying the very foundations of government. It even strengthens those foundations against the possibility of excessive manipulation by various political tendencies. The Commission, led by Supreme Court Chief Justice Yitzhak Kahan, delivered surprising results. Prime Minister Begin was deemed somewhat guilty, although no action was proposed. Ariel Sharon, the ultra-hardline defense minister, was recommended to draw his own conclusions regarding his undisguised culpability in the massacres in the villages of Sabra and Chatila. In other words, he was asked to resign. He was found guilty of negligently carrying out his duty, namely taking into account the possibility that the phalangists would carry out a massacre. 3 direct actors in the Israeli invasion of Lebanon were also found guilty. Israeli Army Chief of Staff Lieutenant Raphael Eitan was entirely culpable for failing to take into account the possibility of a massacre, despite being advised not to allow Phalange troops to enter the villages of Sabra and Chatila. He even allowed Phalange troops to remain in both locations, even though he knew the massacre had occurred. Director of Military Intelligence Yehoshua Sagway was blamed for failing to advise the Israeli army's top leadership to prevent the Phalange from entering Sabra and Chatila, even though he expressed his personal opinion that a massacre would occur if allowed to occur. Brigadier General Ariel Sharon, commander of the division occupying the Beirut area, was also blamed for allowing the massacre to occur, even though he knew it was happening. What is interesting about the Kahan Commission's argument, as reviewed by Time magazine, is the category of Israeli culpability itself. The leaders found guilty were indirectly guilty. According to this argument, even though the Phalangists, Arabs, killed the Palestinian refugees, Arabs, Israel is responsible because it occurred in a territory for which Israel is responsible for security and order.